Hello everyone, I think good. This afternoon, because I'm living in Vancouver, is 5 p.m. now, not this night, in Toronto is night now. I'm going to talk a little about one of the most amazing tools I have ever used. Where I will talk about building data platform with and machine learning with Azure Databricks. Uh, there is, now quote from Clever. How we say that data is the new oil. And we can say that this is true. But to explore and the benefits from this oil, you need to locate where it is, understand and find why to exploit it, drill, and process. Because pure oil does not have great use and value. But its derivative extracted after being distilled and processed have high value. We can say that data follow a very similar process. If they exist, it does not bring any value to the business. If it does not is discovered, understood, explored, extract, and processed to add value to a business. Okay. In the same way that data is the new oil, artificial intelligence and the future is the future. Is not something new, and this concept started harder. I remember 1945 to 1950. It is not a new technology, but to the revolution and the evolution of the hardware and software at the beginning of the 21st century, artificial intelligence starts to have significantly advanced and revolutionized practically everything. Today, we have robots capable of dancing. The call centers being replaced by chatbots, but still have a lot to involve. But like what we have today, it is already possible to replace a good part of your call center. I think about 50% or more. It's a chatbot very well designed to solve this simple problem, and patterns then tend to be the measure of calls. The artificial intelligence, we also have uh, autonomous cars with let's face they are not autonomous yet, but they have a considerable level of automation and use computer vision and machine learning to drive a car. Autonomous is some situation. This will make traffic much safer. With this revolution, many areas no longer exist, but many new ones were born, such as data engineer, machine learning, data insights, computer natural language processing genres, and many other areas that are even on the rise. Something that does exist in the artificial intelligence without data, and going back to talk a little more about data. I will your graphs in which we can see how the amount of data produced has increased since 20, and with for 2020. Um, passing years, this more than 90,000 percent. Uh, Going deeper into the topic about data, we also have the types of data generated, where social media such as Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and several other social applications generate a considerable amount of data per second. Data that has personal and social information, behavior preference, tastes, feelings, desires, and much more. Is extremely delicate and confidential type of data, but often public due to security breaches and a loophole for criminals to use against the impossible victims. Uh, Now I speak about about a little bit more about the type of data, the enterprise data. The enterprise data is generated in the companies. This type of data, in for example, in the ERP, CRM, and the authors software used by companies in their business. What are in their manager or operation, including the data from ATR, sales, logistics, finance, production, and much more. Um, Data then can have excellent insight to be explored, and that can help with the company grow. Finally, we have personal data generated by Genjas. We have it today such as smart TVs, smartwatches, virtual assistants, cars, vacuum cleaners, lamps, and intelligent refrigerators, and much more. All these equipment and gadgets are all used, or that we use are constantly generate data, that is your location, preference, needs your routine, or various other data collected by Tesla Electronics. Uh, After you understand about data, where they come from, what they are for, and what they can do with them, let's talk now about tools that help users work and process them. And on of these tools is the Spark, or better saying Apache Spark. Uh, we can say that it is an open source engine made for large scale data processing, being designed to work with larger volumes of data. And exactly, then we have a problem, work with large data, and something extremely high. One of the requirements to notice and have super powerful machines which generate a high cost. In others, high cost, for you to use the Spark, you need a good machine. Uh, However, some will throw that this could be a platform for a small company or freelance developers that need to work with data. They heard about such a cloud and had the brilliant idea of create a platform that would facilitate developing. The developer code program inside the platform and solve problem with large volumes of data and code use Spark so that you didn't need a supercomputer local and code choose between the main language used to work with data, Python, R, SQL, and Scala. From this brilliant idea, Databricks was born. A cloud platform where we have the Spark running without installing and configuring. It's a friendly interface that you have the notebooks where you can write in your code and your analysis. Uh, Databricks work with data at all levels and can perform, transform, and analyzing of all types, beginning of tools present in Azure and AWS. Still in Azure, I think it is better. I grant that is much better because I use the Azure. I use in I think 4 years I use the Databricks in the Azure. I think it is more better using the AWS because I think the tools in the Azure is more friendly for use of AWS. But the AWS is good too, but I prefer the Azure. But this is a personal preference. Okay. Uh, Begin widely used to solve a complex problem in the environment business. Thus, its scalability, security, and easy management. Unified data service with Spark and Data Lake structures, and enable to work with various frameworks, libraries, and tools, such as MLflow, TensorFlow, PyTorch, and others. Integration easily with tools visualization, tools such as Power BI and others platforms. Several professionals in the data engineer, data science, machine learning engineer, and data analytics. Now, I will show you a little bit of the Databricks to get to know a little more about these tools and how you can develop your data and machine learning platform using Azure tools. Okay. This is the Azure portal. In the Azure portal, I open the Databricks, but I show for you the platform. This is my account. I have many services in my account. For example, the Databricks is a service I created this resource in my account, but I have many others related of data and AI. For example, the data factor is a good tool for work together, the Databricks, the storage account, but this storage account, the type is the data lake storage gen 2 is a good storage for your work with large volume of data because this storage is prepared for you use the big volumes of data. Data factor is a good tools for work with the orchestration of process for to work with the simple ETL process because the data factor having the internal the part of the data flow running Spark 2. You use the same engine for work with data, but have the limitations in data factor because this tool you not need programming. Use the box and connect the box for you build your process. I will open the Databricks. This is the resource in my account. I will open, but I will close it and open again. I click in the launch workspace. This open another Windows in my web browser. In the new Windows, have the Databricks platform. Okay, I'm in my Databricks. The Databricks working with the concept of the workspace. For me, the workspace is of founders. You create the founders. In the founders, you organize your structure your project. For example, I have this SMS spam. I have my notebooks. I have my code. I have this tournament Databricks. In this, I structure structurate my for organize my project. I separating the first part the configuration, the second the load data prep process, save data, and load model. I have this part on the model and save data because in this part I use the machine learning in a simple process, but not need folders for your work. I recommend use this structure because it's good for you see, for you understand about the notebooks. I think it is very good for organize the project and the code. Another part, important part in the Databricks is the compute. In the compute, I have the list of clusters. For Databricks running, these tools is necessary. You create the cluster for running your notebooks, for running your process, your unthink. I will create the cluster. For create the cluster, I need put the name. For example, demo 2. I don't have this. The cluster mode. I will use the standard because I not need for high concurrence because I don't have the streaming of data. For me, the standard is good. Pool, I not use pool in this example. The runtime version. Databricks have the main versions. It's possible you choose for your work. For example, now the last version is 8.3, but you choose your version is good. Have the version difference for example the 8.2 and 8.2 ml and the 8.2 ml GPU. The difference is the difference is the 8.2 have the Scala and Spark for your work, and the tools for you work with the ETL process, you work with data. The 8.2 ml or 8.3 ml, you have the tools for work with data, and the plus the tools for work with machine learning, deep learning, the 8.3 ml GPU or 8.2 ml GPU or another version is because the cluster have the GPU, have the GPU acceleration. Is good for work with, for example, deep learning. In the case, I will choose the 8.3. Another options is the enable outscale. Case I enable outscale the cluster scale automatically. For example, I put my minimum works and my max. The Databricks choose for you the number of works you need. For example, your process need of my of more works for process your process, the Databricks increase the number of you, case you not need more, decrease the value automatically. The another option is configure the time for turning off the cluster. Case you not use the cluster in 120 minutes. After this, automatically the cluster turning off for help you in the price, for not generate the extra costs. I have option for choose the type of the machine. I have many options of machine. In this part, you need take a in choose because case you choose for example the cluster have the GPU, you pay this price. All machines have the different price. You need search about the price of machine for you not pay expensive value for use your process. I recommend you use the general purpose for starting. Case not work, you increase. Case you need for example more memory, use the memory optimized. Have the out plans for you use. Case you use of storage, have the option for work with storage. Compute, you need more CPU, you have the compute optimized. GPU accelerate, for example, you need process and the images, you use the deep learn for process image, video, audio, or heavy models is recommended to use GPU accelerate. Okay, I will use the standard. Okay. Another part in the Databricks is the part of data, because the Databricks have an internal your system of database. Is this similar the Hive? Is a database for you use with large data. This need you have for example the data lake. You he finds your data in the data lake, but you're reading inside the Databricks. For example, the process you need work with string data. It's good you use the data inside the Databricks. Have another options for you create job. For example, you not wanted to use the data factor, for example. It's possible you create jobs in the Databricks for schedule your process. Because the Databricks have the schedule, internal schedule too, for execute the notebooks or PyCode's R error codes or Scala codes. Change returning. Okay. Databricks have another options. For example, for you work with ML4 inside the Databricks, is possible you work. I will open the notebook key now. Databricks work with the concept of notebooks, similar others platforms and tools, for example, the Google Colab is the good example for that use the notebooks. For your program in the Databricks or Spark, you use the specific library is PySpark, because these have this import of the PySpark library and another libraries I need. I have this block. The good form for you developer your code is developer block to block, because it's possible you test your block before you construct another block. For example, now I don't have a cluster because this code not execute. In this, I connect the Databricks in my data lake for consuming the data in the data lake. I have the keys for access my data lake. The form of connecting in the data lake and mount the data lake for you consume in the Databricks. Returning your space for load data. I have my imports, the libraries I need for work. The address of my data in my data lake. After this, I use the Spark for reading my file in the format CSV. I load this data for the code and transform the CSV in the data frame. After I transform in data frame, I display this data and save in the table, internal table in the Databricks. This is the code. For machine learning, I will show about the machine learning. The Spark have the specific features for you work with machine learning, have the implementation of algorithms for you use. For example, in this, I import the PySpark ML for realize the classification and use the logistic regression in this case. It's possible I use another library, it's not the PySpark library for ML. But it's good use the PySpark because the PySpark is optimized for large data. But it's possible, for example, you wanted to work with the TensorFlow, you need construct the neural network. It's possible you import the library of the TensorFlow and programming your code and create your neural network and process train and use your model. Okay. I will not create I not will create the cluster because this need more time. I don't have a time for creating this before. But case you need help for understand more about this part about the clusters. Told me please send the message after for me. Okay. Okay. Now you saw about the Databricks. I hope you like this presentation about this good platform. Okay. Now I have my contacts, my LinkedIn, my Instagram, have the QR code for you send the message for me. Thank you so much for listening to me. These are my contacts, and if you want to know me a little more, I am Thaissa Sanches. I'm from Brazil. Because of this, sorry for my English. My English is I'm not native in the English language, but I think the content is very good for explain for you. I'm living in Canada over 1 year. And I am international student here. I am a Microsoft MVP in AI. If anyone has any question, please get in touch. I will be happy to help you. Thank you. Any questions?